benvenuti davvero a questo evento
welcome to this exclusive live stream event titled Sell Smarter, Knowing What to Pitch. We're very sorry for the delay. We had some technical issues, but here we are now, ready to start with all our guests. Your host is Francesco Marino, and I'm the founder of Digitalic. But before we get started, just some quick housekeeping notes. If you have joined our live stream, you will receive the recording afterwards, and you can also ask questions in a very easy way. You can just use social media and the official hashtag workplace transformation. So let us know your questions, your curiosities, and my team will monitor social networks, and we will just pass on the questions to our panel. And then you have a form. If you want to have more information, you can fill the form and you will be contacted. But let's move now to today's subject, selling smarter by knowing how to pitch. So this is workplace transformation. In the last few years, as you well know, workplaces have been transforming, and also the way we work. And the workforce has been changing. So your workforce is no longer confined to a physical space, and technology has become an integral part of the work experience. And all organizations know that employee experience is a key element in order to better customers' relations. And business partners can play a vital role in workplace transformation, and they can just guide small and medium businesses in Europe with new technological solutions towards an enhancement of the employee experience and the customer's experience too. We're very lucky today to have three of the greatest experts of workplace transformation. So I would invite our guests to introduce themselves, their position, and what they bring to this table. Alain.
Good afternoon. So I'm Alain Raison, and I'm leading the EMEA SMB business at Lenovo. I'm there this afternoon to help the partners to optimize their business approach, to understand how to cope with SMB businesses, and really to find the right pitch and the right solutions that fits to the SMB needs.
Good afternoon, Francesco. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Nicola Procaccio, and I am the EMEA Territory Marketing Director for Intel and the Intel Italy Country Manager. I'm the leader of the overall marketing organization in the EMEA Territory across business unit, client, data center, and Internet of Things. And in this specific occasion, we want really explain the strategy we want to activate for reaching the SMB market and putting the small and medium business in the position to be more competitive and even more successful.
Yes, and hi, I'm Pascal Matzke. I'm the Vice President Research Director on Forrester's CIO research team. Me and my team, we work with end users, CIOs, but also many business leaders around their core digital transformation issues, including also the future of work, which really has become a key theme of discussion with our clients. And in the context of this discussion today, me and my team are really sort of responsible for a lot of the data points that we have collected to help you ultimately, sell better into the SMB world in Europe.
All right, so let's start with Pascal. From Forrester's perspective, why do you think employee experience is so important for SMBs, and how can it enhance customer experience?
There are really three things coming together at the same time. The first is really that employees have a much higher level of expectation as it concerns devices, but also the usability of technology in their jobs. As consumers, they are exposed to an array of new technologies in the mobile space in particular, and obviously they naturally carry that expectation into their work life. Secondly, we see a lot of companies also in the SMB space in Europe increasingly shifting what they sell and how they sell to their clients, which really makes the employee a much more integral part of the whole customer experience play. And to this end, really providing for employee engagement that sort of closes the engagement gap between customer experience and employee engagement becomes really important. And the third point I want to point out is the sort of level of automation that is starting to kick in into jobs, eating out a lot of the mundane tasks of our everyday work life. And hence, companies and employees are really pressured to train and learn more and more to sort of build a constructive ambition so that they can actually, develop new skills, new areas of expertise expertise, as the automation is taking away some of the mundane tasks at the lower end of the value chains. So you really have these three kind of elements here: the consumerization of enterprise IT, the shift in the customer experience dimension, which includes employee engagement, and the increasing level of automation in the enterprise.
Thank you. I would like to ask Alain, from your experience, how does employee experience can affect customer experience?
So first observation, we know that and we see that customers and companies are focusing on customer experience. They do understand that customer experience has a direct impact on their revenue and their profit. Now, they may not have all understand that you have a direct impact from employee experience to the customer experience. That's what we try to talk about this afternoon. It's really how does that relate between employee experience and customer experience. What we have seen is that 60% of the companies stop to deal or the customers stop to deal with companies when they have not good engagement with the employees or employees of companies. So it's really critical that employees feel engaged and that the companies give them all the tools to be engaged.
All right, and what about you, Nicola? Why do you think employee experience is so important for SMBs?
When we talk about employee experience in the small and medium business, I think that firstly we absolutely need to consider that today the millennials represent the 30% of the global workforce. And this percentage will grow up to 75% of the global workforce by 2025. The emerging workforce is more mobile than ever, and for sure this new generation does not want to stay close in an office. Moreover, today the 70% of the working people globally work remotely. This means that technology has certainly become a key element of a working experience wherever these people will be working, from home, on field, or remotely. So from the road worker to the office-based worker, for sure the personal computer had and still has to adapt to their different needs. And for this, the Intel-based PC provide, first of all, first-in-class capability, first-in-class responsiveness. For sure, thanks to an extended battery life, we can tangibly increase the productivity of the employee, and also our built-in security built into the hardware, can help them to protect their businesses. Last but not least, we absolutely need to ensure and to provide them remote manageability technology in order to reduce the operational cost. Last but not least, we are introducing a new era of WLAN connectivity. Thanks to this, for mobile worker, thanks to the Intel vPro technology, it will be able, especially thanks to the Intel Wi-Fi X6 connection, they will be able to work from everywhere, but also to get access to premium experience when they will, for example, want to get access to first-class connectivity, when they want to get access to the most demanding mobile application, like video conferencing, real-time collaboration, and content sharing. If I look to this scenario, I think that it's evident that moments that matter can no longer be closed into the four walls of a corporation.
Thank you. I would like to ask Pascal how the employee experience is actually reshaping workplaces and workplace experience for SMBs in Europe.
Well, the SMBs are really, there's a war going on, right? A war for talent, where SMBs compete with large corporates for people, for talent in all sorts of areas. And whilst SMBs traditionally have been looking after the employees very well, the truth, unfortunately, is that only 63 of the employees in the European SMB segment feel really satisfied with the way they can execute their roles and their jobs. And there's a lot of frustration, in particular as it regards existing silo structure, whether it's the access to data, that it's becoming increasingly difficult to access because of how data silos exist within the company, whether it's your individual career perspective that is often limited by very traditional, very hierarchical pyramid company structures, or whether it's just simply the way of collaboration, not just with your peers inside the organization, but also with partners, with customers outside of the organization. So SMBs really have to change their game as it relates to employee experience and take a much more holistic perspective, which obviously goes beyond the device, but looks at the device as a core enabler for really changing the way they work and also the way they engage with customers, with partners, and their own people.
Thank you. And Nicola, do you want to add something?
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. To add Pascal's point, I think that the small and medium business are today focused on delivering a more differentiated and more satisfying customer experience, which should help to increase, first of all, their loyalty, their market segment share, and also their revenue. But from an Intel perspective, I think that at the same time, the small and medium business should absolutely need to focus on employee experience, as that focusing on employee experience can improve employee engagement, employee retention, and productivity. Many small and medium business today, and many employees inside the small and medium business, believe their current workplace is not effectively making use of the latest technology benefit. And also almost the half of the SMB employee believe their current workplace is not enough smart. Since I was mentioning before, since the millennials have been part of this new small and medium business workforce, for sure the importance to adopt advanced technology and to improve the collaboration inside the company have been taken more in consideration when they decide to adopt new technology and to introduce new latest device. This new generation is evident can influence the employer decision. They can do that pushing for the adoption of the latest emerging technology. They can do it pushing for a stronger communication tool, for flexible and even more flexible work environment. A technological modern workplace is key to create, we think, a productive and happy and a capable workplace for everyone in every segment of the market.
Alain, what's Lenovo's standpoint on these subjects? Is employee experience impacting the whole organization?
Yeah, it's impacting the organization. We have seen on some chart that the customer experience is very much impacted by the employee experience. I would like to share some data points that we have seen in the research. One of them is a big difference that we have seen in the technology used in SMB versus large enterprise. As of now, when we look at the PC in the market, the large enterprise account use mostly notebook, when in SMB they use mostly desktop, which is one of the major differences we can discuss with the partners is how we are going to create that evolution and help the SMB business to understand how the mobility can help them to improve productivity, employee experience, and as a consequence, customer experience. Other things like collaboration. We start to see collaboration implemented in large enterprise. We don't see yet that happening in SMB. So I'm quite sure that with the partners, we can really have a discussion and advisory position with customers to really make them understand the benefits of that technology, which has a big influence on employee experience and then the result of the company.
And Alain, why do you believe technology is so crucial to the overall experience?
So what we have seen in the research is that the employee experience, the motivation, come from a lot of different things. It can be salary, but it's not only that. What we measure is that most of the time, the experience or the motivation can be dragged down by the technology when it's not appropriate. If the technology is not really adapted to the work, the condition, to the way the people want to engage with customer, the motivation is going down, employee experience is going down, and therefore it has an impact on customer experience. And a lot of things can be thought through in a better way. Device, what kind of device we need to advise customers, but we will talk about also support, services. They really want a solution.
Thank you. Nicola, do you have something to add?
We cannot be more in agreement. To add Alain's point, if we look deeply of some of the technology-related issues faced by the small and medium business employee, we see these issues are mainly related, for example, to long loading times, to slow file transfer, or outdated software or system, just to make you a few examples. All these issues, all these challenges can be easily solved by giving the workforce the access to the latest Intel technologies. Just to make you a few examples, for example, we can get them access to the latest Intel core processor, to the latest Intel Optane memory, which can improve the computer responsiveness, the computer performance, keeping at the same time a huge storage capacity. Or we can provide them access to the latest Intel Wi-Fi 6, which provide a whole new level of wireless performance for video streaming, large media file transfer, or other bandwidth-related intensive activity. Moreover, with the increased number of mobile workers we are mentioning at the beginning, it's absolutely important, key to guarantee them the possibility to remotely manage their device into the organization. Today, modern mobile workers are always on the go. So sometimes they do not have an on-site access to IT support service, but at the same time, they need to get their device repaired, updated, or upgraded by the IT department. This is possible thanks to the latest Intel vPro platform that make this easier for IT to support employees remotely, even when they are outside the office. And this is the most important advance made possible by Intel vPro technology. Manage, even remotely, any kind of IT support to the device into the organization.
Thank you. Alain, based on your European experience, did you find some or any differences among European countries?
Yeah, what we see, and we observe that and we measure that along the time, we see big difference from country to others, from east to west or north to south. I give you an example of things like adoption of SSD. SS drive is the technology that is fitting well to the needs of the users. But the adoption of SSD has been fast, for example, in Nordics or in Germany. It has not been as fast, for example, in Spain or in France. And we really see that as a culture effect. I do believe that as an industry, us as Lenovo and the partners, we need to educate customers, specifically SMB. A lot of time the people just want to watch to a device where they fit in the budget. They may not be able to really understand what the budget size is, and they may go to an easy way, which is take the cheapest one. As a result, they may not give to the employee the technology that fit the need. When you compare the performance of HDD and SSD, you have a big gap in productivity. It can take a long time to boot in the morning with an HDD. It's very fast with SSD. Simple example, but we have seen a lot of difference from market to market.
Pascal, I would like to ask you something else. What are the major challenges for SMBs and how can they face them?
Well, I think where they should start is they should apply some of the best practices that they apply already around their customer experience, which is, for instance, to start with a design thinking exercise and really think through the employee experience journey and how the employee experience journey links to a customer journey and how then productivity really relates to impact in the context of a net promoter score outcome or a customer satisfaction outcome. Don't start with the device. One simple thing is to actually start also with a voice of the employee program. Unfortunately, currently only 21% of the companies in the SMB space are actually executing on that particular issue. But we need to hear from the employees. What is it that helps you to be more productive and effective in your job? And what are the devices? But also, how does the device usage relate to the outcome that you're ultimately getting measured on as an individual? So think holistically, start with an outside-in approach. Design thinking, employee experience journey mapping can help, but also facilitate a discussion around the device usage in the context of concrete business outcomes rather than looking at devices in the context of features and functions.
And in your opinion, Pascal, what can organizations do to make their employees more productive?
The underlying issue here is that companies in the SMB space have to become more adaptive. You know, this is not just about flexibility. This is about understanding that what we're going through right now is the need to drive permanent change. There is no single digital transformation after which we sort of, get to an end point and we're done with it. This is about permanent change, and the only way we can facilitate good employee experience and create happy warriors that sort of fight for our businesses out there in the field is by giving them freedom. There is the first freedom, which is the freedom to access information, really sort of, tearing down some of the data silo structures and give them what they need, and also entrust them that they do the right thing with the data to basically help customers drive a better experience. The second is the freedom to collaborate, because this is a much broader ecosystem than what we are used to. This is not just the peers within the organization. This is customers, this is innovation partners. This may even be, even in the context of SMB Europe, the gig economy, freelancers that you have to collaborate with. So you need to have tools, you need to have technology to reach out and communicate with these people. And then, of course, there's the freedom to work from wherever it is necessary or possible in the context of really driving the business outcome. So the physical mobility also becomes a key element in the context of these three freedoms.
And Nicola, in your opinion, what do employees demand in order to ensure a better productivity?
To ensure a better or a more productive experience, to ensure the employee will feel more productive at the workplace, I think, first of all, that the organization should provide tools that can increase mobility and flexibility at the workplace. For example, you need to consider that today only the 30% of the employee have access to cloud-based tools for collaboration. This percentage should absolutely consistently increase in the future. At the same time, talking more from a device perspective, as Intel, in collaboration with our partner like Lenovo, we are focusing, when we try to approach the small and medium market, to move from a usage mainly focused on desktop to an usage that need to consider the mobile device as a key differentiator in improving the experience at the small and medium business, because they can guarantee the same level of capability, performance, and responsiveness, but even when you are on the go. Within the mobile device offer we can provide to the small and medium business, for sure the 2-in-1 are the one that can offer the full performance of a notebook for content creation with the flexibility of a tablet for a content fruition. At the same time, I think that what we should consider today for enabling a better experience is also the importance to provide first quality services, because it's where we can really make the difference. So we should also consider that at Intel we completely shift the focus from providing a device that can only provide performance to a device that can meet completely the needs of the end user. Our devices are completely built, tailor-made to the needs to the end user. And this is even more important when you want to reach the SMB customer.
Alain, do you have something to add to these interesting subjects?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to experience, what is important is first we talked about the device, how we can advise the right device for the user. Now it's not only the only important point. Reliability is definitely a key element. Long-term life cycle, you need to be able to have a device that can last 3, 4, 5 years in some case. But the second element which is important is the support. What we have observed in the research is that 43% of SMB do not have IT support internally, which means that it's an opportunity for the partners in the channel to really address that, and with us, to provide the customers the right support and service that meets their needs. If an employee, for example, is on the field, has a problem with a notebook, what do we do? How do we handle it? They cannot stay without PC for a week. So really the service and support is even more important in SMB than it is in large enterprise where they have a lot of IT people to handle those issues.
So, and what measures can organizations and businesses take to address these pain points, and what is the role of business partners in this transition?
I think that, you know, when we talk about IT with customers, when they know everything about IT, it's quite easy for us. They tell us what they want. In SMB, most of the customers do not know exactly what they want because they are focused on business. IT is there to help them. Okay, so the advisory position that we need to take is really understand the business objective that the customer can have, make a translation of the objective into what kind of tool they need to have to really achieve those objectives. Talk to employees, talk to managers. We have, you know, to discuss with many different people in SMB because, as I said, most of them do not have IT manager. So it's critical that we can really make a variation of discussion and have the feedback from everybody, managers, employee, business owners, and give them the right advice.
Well, Pascal, how can business partners categorize businesses based on their device situation?
Well, given that it's such a multi-stakeholder business that Alain just described, I think it's fundamental that business partners understand what is the individual level of maturity that the stakeholder that you're talking to is currently at. Is this somebody who is primarily concerned about employee productivity or efficiency, where it's really about just fixing the device or enhancing the durability, the reliability of the device so that they can meet operational efficiency metrics? Is this a customer that maybe thinks beyond that and is really looking to sort of enhance the effectiveness of the business process through new devices, enhancing the time to market around supply chain management, for instance, logistics, warehouse management could be another example? Or is this somebody who really is already at this stage where they're looking, to disrupt their markets and using tools and technologies in the workplace to do something fundamentally different so that they can also bring different value propositions to their clients? If you start to understand where in this maturity curve you are, whether it's somebody who is more tactically focused, somebody who starts to strategically think about this, or somebody who really is on the edge of innovation, you can target your message much more effectively. And then also in the context of the multi-stakeholder continuum, really bring together the right people to ultimately come to a decision.
Thank you. I would like to ask Alain, what are the qualities that electronic devices should have and SMBs should look for? And what is the role of business partners in the buying and transformation journeys?
So what we have done over the last year is to really understand the difference of needs between SMB and large enterprise. And we came to the conclusion that we needed to really create a product line that match exactly the needs in SMB. We talk about the fact that companies do not have a lot of IT people, so we need to simplify IT. For example, when we talk about manageability, security, yes, it's true that they need to manage PC, they need to manage security, but it needs to be in a simple way, effective but simple. At the same time, employees are more and more young, and what they look for is a device that is attractive. They want the performance. We said they want productivity, so they want performance, they want speed, but they want also aesthetic. So with that, what we did is to really create a brand called the ThinkBook, which is the combination of simplified IT, still with reliability, quality, performance, but with great aesthetic for the young people. And what we have done is to put inside the product a series of specifications that really improve the productivity. It can be when you press the button to open the product, you have the fingerprint inside the button, so it simplifies the security. You have the Wi-Fi the Cat6, which improve the speed of connection to internet. You have a lot of different things, of course, SSD, high-end CPU, but you can also have a button to have access to Skype. So really a lot of different things that make the life of people easier. So I think that when we go to visit customers in SMB, when we talk on the phone with them, we need to pitch that, we need to explain why it's different, why the need of SMB is slightly different from the large account. So that's what we expect also from the partners to be able to handle and to take care of.
And what about you, Nicola? What do you think are the qualities we should consider?
For sure, today's the SMB, the small and medium business buyer, are looking for technology that can advance their business need and create at the same time the foundation for future innovation. They want to prepare the stage for future innovation. This outcome-driven approach brings the small and medium business to have high expectation, for sure, for the latest technology solution. And secondly, also for us, for the vendor that provide this technology solution. For this, our channel partner, I cannot be more in agreement, can play a key role in addressing the customer's needs by not only by selling the product, but by acting as a sort of IT consultant at the same time. For making this possible, the partner, the channel partner, need to know and to consider all the issues, all the challenges that customers currently face. Moreover, new services are available to give the small business workforce the tool they need to access to the latest technology. Just to give you an example, device as a service is absolutely the business model we are using more now at Intel. It's a customizable subscription service created to meet the device management needs. And often these include, at the same time, tech support, hardware and software. We have tons of examples all across the territory I'm driving of device as a service implementation. The small and medium business market is a very fragmented market, very not so easy to be reached. And I think that this approach, the device as a service business model, sometimes in partnership also with some telco, could be the key to successfully reach this segment of the market.
Oh, that's such an interesting point. I mean, the services. So my question is, what role will services play in enhancing the employee experience and their productivity?
So, to enable a future improved workplace, we have for sure to help the customer to think, like Alain was saying, beyond the device in order to improve employee productivity by providing mobile and flexible options such as, for example, I was mentioning before, cloud-based tools, like we said. This essentially helps, for sure, them to design a better workplace portfolio. Also, the buyers need, in this direction, provide more inclusive solution to build a more connected workplace, thanks to smart meeting solution, virtual reality, augmented reality, and collaboration tools. Services will play a key role in enabling this workplace transformation, especially where in those organizations, like Alain was mentioning, where maybe we do not have, and this is pretty common in the small reality, where we do not have an IT department, an IT consultant, an IT manager. In this case, of course, it's important to rely on an external consultant that can play the role of IT manager and provide to the small business that support that they are missing.
So, Alain, how does Lenovo's portfolio of products can solve some of the challenges that SMBs have to face?
So when we talk about the services, I would like to start with a service that we have created to specifically respond to this kind of needs in SMB. The premier is really the high level of support that we provide to the customers. It's helping customers to really take care about their own business, not focus on support. We can, advise customers to really go on that level of support because it can help them a lot, specifically in SMB when they don't really have a lot of people to handle issues. The second thing I can talk about is the transformation of the workplace is not only on the individual aspects. We talk a lot about the device. After that, we can talk about the budget, because I do believe it's important. But the device is seen as personal. Now, what we see is that more and more customers and people are looking after collaboration. They don't work in silo. They really want to work with people as a team, with customers, employees, and we need to give them solutions and devices and accessories, software, which help them to really be more effective as a team. We launched a year ago a product line called Smart Office. Smart Office is there to provide the solutions to make meetings more effective. You want to launch a webcast, you want to launch a conference, you have a system called the Smart Hub, which helps you to do that. And it's specifically adapted in SMB because it's easy to implement. It's one solution in the box. It's very effective to small meeting rooms, and we advise customers to really think about that, because it's helping the productivity overall, not only productivity of employees.
And what's the advice you could give your business partners on how to approach their customers?
I think that the budget thing is important. We said that employee experience has a very important impact on customer experience. A lot of time people come and say, this is the budget I get, and this is what I would like to buy. And we've seen that specifically in SMB, a lot of customers try to buy the cheapest PC. We have a big difference in terms of average price between small companies and large enterprise. It's not only because they have money. No, it's also because they have people who really understand technology and who understand the value of technology. So if you come to the customers, explain how mobility can really influence the productivity, how if you change desktop by the notebook, you can accelerate, the value to the customers, how they are going to be able to work outside, visit customers. I think that it's in our job to explain the value proposition of the technology and help the customer to understand that they need to define the budget. They will get the return on investment anyway, because the more we increase employee experience, the more we increase productivity, and the more we increase the value of the company and the customer experience. So they have to think that they may spend more, but they will get the double in return.
All right, thank you. And Nicola, what could you suggest?
So when my business partner need to approach our customer, for sure I would recommend them to remind their customer that the small and medium business employee can get up to 11 hours back if they use the PC, the personal computer, based on the latest Intel processor. Old computers are costing really the small and medium business much more than what they can think. If they continue to use old PC, old computer, they can have an enormous and huge impact on their business finance. Not only in terms of maintenance cost, but in terms also of security vulnerability and in terms of productivity loss. We know that the small and medium business often work with a very limited budget. But despite this, the increased performance, the increased productivity that the small and medium business can get adopting computer powered by the 10th generation Intel Core processor or powered by Intel Optane memory can be easily translated in a huge improvement in terms of a long-term profitability.
So thank you. Thank you for answering all my questions in such a brilliant and exhaustive way. I think we can now give the floor to our audience, to the people listening and watching us, and let's see what questions we have now. Well, let's take a look at the questions that came through social media. There's one of them, one for Pascal, and is about budgeting and budget. So how can you actually get to to get small and medium business budget because they invest a lot on customer experience, but they do not invest a lot on employee experience.
Yeah, this is the cold hard truth, right? Because we still have sort of 30% of the IT budget going into expanding and innovating the business, and 70% going into just keeping the lights on. Whereas the CX part is often around the innovation and the new. The EX business, the employee experience part, still resides in the operational dimension. And so there's this one trick, and Alain alluded to this, where we just really have to get much more specific around how employee experience can benefit a customer experience play. How do employee journeys relate to customer experience journeys? And what is the impact of not investing into employee experience in terms of the customer outcomes? The other thing is, I think we need to decouple the whole employee experience investments question from the typical 2-year device lifecycle equation, right? Because oftentimes, I see clients just coming up with demands for new investments as and when the old PCs are coming to the end of their life cycle. But that's the wrong approach, right? Because we need to continuously adapt and be flexible and agile. And so I think there is a discussion to be had between business partners and the business stakeholders and the IT managers, where we start to sort of show them the way in terms of outside of the device life cycle. How can you enhance the employee life cycle in terms of some of the cost efficiencies that you alluded to, Nicolas, but more importantly also in the context of the customer equations that you can ultimately achieve. I think for the business partners, the big challenge will be that you really have to basically physically establish a roundtable discussion where you bring the business, the marketing side of your customer, the operational side of your customer, the IT side, all around the same table and really start a discussion. Okay, what is the single most important business outcome that you're driving at? And how do then investment decisions around employee experience really matter in the context of that specific outcome? And that's something I think that, through a more consultative approach that you alluded to, the business partners absolutely need to start this discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer, Pascal. Another question is about negotiations. It's for Nicola. Business partners usually have with businesses. Sometimes these negotiations have to do with pricing, prices, availability, and so on. So how can business partners move this discussion on a larger issue, so about workplace transformation?
This is a very good question. I think, Francesco, you are totally right. We are working already with our partner at Intel in order to make sure that this conversation will be at a more strategic level. I think that a good recommendation we could give to our business partner is that we should try to understand how important it is to investigate, to understand more the business needs of their customer, which are our customer. Because in this scenario, for sure, one size does not fit all. Every customer has different needs, has different issue to face, and a device or a service that can work for a customer could not work for another customer. As I was mentioning before, at Intel, we completely shift the way we approach the market and the end user, tailor-making our device, our technology around their needs. This is key for us. And I think that we should keep going together with our business partner in this direction, better understanding the needs and offering a solution that is a combination of services and device can be specifically tailor-made on their needs.
Thank you. And a question for Alain. Why did you create ThinkBook? Wasn't a ThinkPad already good enough for SMBs?
Yeah, so I think that the question is very true and valid, and we created the ThinkPad a long time ago. So IBM created the ThinkPad, we purchased the company a few years ago, and we continued the ThinkPad experience and journey. I think that the ThinkPad brand is very well known and accepted in companies. Now, when the ThinkPad was created, it was created really with the needs of the large enterprise in mind. And we continue to improve even more the quality, the reliability, the manageability, the user experience, always with in mind the need of large enterprise. So when we said, okay, now is that really fitting well to the companies in SMB? We said they may not be able to pay for things that they may not use. You know, we do a lot of things, for example, on vPro, which is very important for large enterprise. They may not have the capability to implement vPro in SMB. So security, they may not have also a lot of people inside to really implement security to the same needs. So we said, okay, we need to create a product which is more adapted to the SMB needs, and that will be a simpler PC for SMB. And we created the ThinkBook with that in mind. Keep the quality of the ThinkPad, keep the nice design that we have been able to implement recently, and really make things more simpler, faster, and enjoyable for customers and employees.
Thank you. Well, so thank you so much to our panelists today, and thank you for your questions to you too. So thank you, Lenovo, Intel, and Forrester for being here, and thank you to all our viewers. You can just keep on posting using our hashtag workplace transformation or by filling the form you find here. So thank you, everyone, and we see each other online with new initiatives.
Look, things are changing fast for small businesses. A new generation of employees are driving new expectations, especially for their devices. These guys, you don't want to hold them back. They're your heartbeat, the big-time problem solvers, go-getters, and new media masters, value-adders, and future leaders. Until you hand them a laptop that takes longer to boot than the sun takes to rise. They'll use it, but probably just to print their resumes. Introducing the new Lenovo ThinkBook. It's packed with features for working smarter, no matter how your team works. With a design that inspires them to perform at a higher level every single day. Business-grade support from real helpful human beings, and ThinkShield security that brings all the protection without any of the hassle. Now that's the sweet spot for any business. Give them the tools, and they'll give you their all. It's time to go with ThinkBook by Lenovo. Built for business, designed for you.